The laziest person in your office will probably outlast you. Not because they're smarter, not because they're more talented, but because they figured out something most people never do. And by the time most people figure it out, it's already too late. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you weren't worried about money? Not just a little stressed, actually, genuinely, deeply worried about the bills, about next month, about what happens if something breaks down, or someone gets sick, or your company decides to restructure. That word, that terrifying corporate word that means someone's getting let go, and you spend the next 3 days wondering if it's you. That's where most of us live, in that low-grade financial anxiety that never really goes away. You earn more than your parents did. You work harder than you ever expected, and somehow you still feel like you're one bad month away from the edge. Meanwhile, somewhere out there, someone your age just woke up at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. No alarm, no commute, no boss. They made coffee, checked their phone, not their email, their investment account, and went back to bed because they could. That's not a fantasy. That's a decision they made years ago that you haven't made yet. Here's what nobody tells you when you're young and ambitious and just starting out. Working hard is not the same as building wealth. Those are two completely different games, and most people spend their entire lives playing the wrong one. Think about the average person's financial life. They get their first real job, finally making money, and the first thing they do? Upgrade everything. New apartment, new car, nicer clothes, better phone, because they earned it, right? They worked hard. They deserve it. And that feeling of finally being able to afford things is one of the most dangerous feelings in the world. Because what just happened? Their income went up, and immediately, automatically, their spending went up to match it. Economists call this lifestyle inflation. But honestly, it's simpler than that. It's just your life expanding to fill whatever money you make, and then a little more, until you're making $60,000 a year and feeling just as broke as when you made 30. The number changed, the feeling didn't. This is the trap, and almost everyone falls into it. Not because they're stupid, because they're human. We are wired to compare, wired to want, wired to feel like if we can afford something, we should probably have it. That's not a character flaw. That's evolution. For most of human history, consuming everything available to you was survival. The problem is, that instinct doesn't work in a world with credit cards, one-click checkout, and a social media feed of people showing you everything they own. So you spend, and you earn more, and you spend more. And somewhere deep down, you assume that the future version of you, the one making more money, the wiser, more disciplined version, will figure it out. But here's the thing. That version of you is still going to get the same dopamine hit from a new purchase, still going to feel that pull, still going to justify it. The game doesn't get easier. The stakes just get higher. And this is where the lazy person changes everything. The lazy person doesn't want to work forever. That's it. That's their secret. They are deeply, profoundly allergic to the idea of being 65 years old and still needing a paycheck to survive. That image horrifies them. So they make a decision early. Instead of spending everything they make, they start buying things that make money while they sleep. That's it. That's the whole shift. You can divide everything you spend money on into two categories: things that drain your wallet and things that fill it. A new car drains it. A car that gets you to work is fine, but the moment it becomes a status symbol, it's draining you. Subscriptions, clothes you barely wear, the third streaming service, the restaurants every weekend, they drain you. That's not judgment. That's just math. But when you buy a piece of a company through the stock market, that company keeps working for you. When you invest in real estate, someone pays you rent every month. When you build a portfolio of assets, those assets generate returns whether you're awake or asleep, whether you're working or not, whether you're healthy or sick. That's not passive income as a buzzword. That's what ownership actually means. And here's where time becomes either your greatest asset or your most devastating loss. If you invest $1,000 a month starting at 25 and you do it consistently, something almost unbelievable happens over time. That money doesn't just grow, it accelerates because your returns generate returns. Your gains make gains, and those gains make gains on top of gains. It compounds, slowly at first, so slowly that most people give up before it gets exciting. But if you stay in, if you keep going, the back half of that curve is almost vertical. This is why the lazy person starts early, not because they love spreadsheets, because they understand that time is doing the heavy lifting. They're not trying to get rich quick. They're trying to get rich slowly, which is the only way that actually works.
Meanwhile, the person who keeps saying, "I'll start investing when I have more money," they're making the most expensive mistake of their financial life. Because every year you wait doesn't just delay your wealth, it shrinks it dramatically, permanently. Time doesn't care about your intentions. It just keeps moving. Now I want you to do something uncomfortable. I want you to picture your life at 60, not the dream version, the realistic average version. You're still working. Maybe not the job you have now, maybe something slightly different, slightly less demanding, but still, you still need that paycheck. You still set an alarm 5 days a week. Your body is more tired than it used to be. Your back hurts in ways it didn't before. And you think about retiring, about really stopping, but the math doesn't work yet, so you keep going. And you tell yourself it's fine. But late at night, in the quiet, you wonder when it was that you ran out of time to start. You thought you had more of it. That's not a scare tactic. That's the actual median retirement story in this country. Millions of people working deep into their 60s because they have to, because the money they made over 40 years of hard work went to living, not building. And they were good people, smart people, hardworking people. They just played the wrong game. But here's where this story changes, because you're watching this now, which means you haven't run out of time yet. And the shift I'm talking about doesn't require you to be wealthy. It doesn't require a finance degree. It doesn't require you to give up everything you love. It requires one thing, a decision to start treating your future self like someone worth investing in. Not what's left over at the end of the month. Nothing's ever left over at the end of the month. Before. You pay your future self first. Before rent, before groceries ideally, but realistically, before anything discretionary. Even if it's small, even if it feels pointless, you start. Because the person who invests $50 a month and increases that number as they earn more will always end up ahead of the person who waits until they feel ready. Readiness doesn't come. The moment does. And as those assets grow, something else happens. Something people don't talk about enough. You start to feel different. Not just financially, psychologically. You stop feeling like you're one bad week away from disaster. You stop dreading Monday with the same weight. Not because your job changes, because your relationship with it changes. You're not there because you have to be. You're there because, for now, it makes sense. And that difference between needing your paycheck and choosing to keep earning is one of the most profound shifts a human being can experience. Financial freedom isn't really about the money. It's about what the money protects. It protects your time, your health, your relationships. It means you can say no to the job that's slowly crushing you. You can take the trip while your kids are still young enough to want to go with you. You can work on something that matters to you even if it pays less, because your survival doesn't depend on that paycheck anymore. It means waking up on a Tuesday morning and feeling something most people only feel on vacation. Calm. Like your life belongs to you. That's what the lazy person is building. Not laziness, freedom. The freedom to stop when they want to. The freedom to choose. And they're building it quietly, consistently, while everyone else upgrades their life to match their income and wonders why the anxiety never goes away. So here's the only question that actually matters right now. Not how much you should invest, not which app to use, not whether the market is up or down. Those are details. You can figure out details. The question is this: what does 60-year-old you think of the decision you're making right now? Because they're watching, and they're depending on you, and they'd give almost anything to have this conversation again at your age with time still on their side. Don't make them wait any longer.